edition of the Coffee Talks and on the Solano College Sports Network. I'm your host, Deshaun Duke, and today I'm with Diego Cricks, Sergio Valera, and Ernie Flynn. And today we're going to be talking about mainly just our finals coming up and some of the classes that we really liked during this semester at Solano. So, Diego, what classes did you like mostly, and what's going on with your finals?
My finals, I have about 5 finals in total. I'm not exactly sure if you can confirm. Is there a final for LR time?
I think she said something about there being a final.
I'm not exactly
but
sure.
I guess we'll figure it out. It's probably going to be something about like research.
Yeah, probably, but I believe I have an essay for English, 2 tests, one for biology and the other for nutrition. I'm not exactly sure how biology is going to work since it's an online class. I'm fairly sure they're just going to put an exam on Canvas and then just have a time window, let's say like 7 to 10 to do it, because that's how my nutrition class is working. And yeah. And what was that last class? Communications. Right here. What?
So for communications and stuff like that, what did you mainly like about it?
What did I like about it? I like that there's no homework. Absolutely none. Well, besides the obligatory studying, let's say speech. You're studying a speech, that's sort of homework. But there's virtually no homework in this class. Only if you make it.
Before we get into our favorite classes, I want to know about your how confident are you about your finals and how that's going to go?
I'm fairly confident in my finals, especially the essay ones, because those are fairly easy to do.
I hate essays.
I'm more excited on the test. The test I'm not happy about.
I
Really?
gotta do a test and an essay.
Me too. I'd rather do a test
Why
than
don't
an
you try
essay.
naming off the different parts of the human digestive system? Huh?
The large test and small. I'm just going
Two
off.
of my classes are
take
about
biology
human
too.
biology.
Mm-hmm. What class are you least confident?
Biology.
Biology.
I got to learn about the lymphatic system, the respiratory system, the cardiac. No, not the cardiac
He's
system.
like, I didn't pay attention in class.
Cardiovascular system. There is no class. It's just online tests. Not tests. Little
It's class.
research topic. That's so boring.
Wait, what's your grade in biology?
It's like an 81.
Hey, I get it.
I'm struggling. No, it's the information is easy to learn. It's just the due dates. Let me put this picture in your head. The due dates are due on Saturday. It says it on Saturday if you look it on Canvas.
Oh yeah,
A Sunday. If it says a Sunday if you look on Canvas. So I'm thinking, hey, I don't gotta do this till Sunday. Then I open the assignment, and every single time I see part 1, part 2. Part 1 due Friday.
And you were taking the assignment on Friday.
And I'm checking it on Saturday. Like, oh.
That's even worse.
And you know this is a pattern, and
I keep forgetting.
No, cause like I get that. The same thing happens to me with music, with the discussions. So there's like 2 parts of the discussion, and I'm like, I got like 2 weeks to do it. And then the day before the deadline, I'm like, part 2 is due today, bro. I didn't even do part 1.
Yeah. What are your finals looking? What's your finals looking like, and how do you think that's gonna go?
I only got 2. So I got trigonometry and I got music.
I thought you dropped trig.
No, I dropped algebra for calculus.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And I'm pretty confident about both, actually. I think the best one is probably going to be trigonometry.
Yeah.
Yeah. And my favorite class, communications, dude. Communications was so good. I mean, my favorite thing was like, the podcast. I think it's like really cool and like really fun to do it. And that we don't have homework. That's it. Yeah. What about you do?
For me,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not too confident at all in my final. I mean, at some classes, I think the final I'm gonna have the biggest problem with is gonna be my math final. Stats.
Yep.
And the issue isn't stats being like super difficult, but my teacher, who I will not name, is he just teaches a certain way. It doesn't really resonate with me, or the class is obviously struggles with it too, because if you look at Canvas, you can see like the grade average per assignment,
Mm-hmm.
and his average for most of his assignments are like C's or high D's or something like that.
Jesus.
I'm just like, and one that could show the issues of the students, but everybody that had an issue that thought they weren't going to pass dropped out or dropped that class last week during the period, and So I'm looking at class averages now of people who thought they were gonna pass, and they're still at like 40%, 50%. I'm just like,
Jesus.
oh my gosh, and I'm sitting there right there with them. I'm struggling.
Are there no retakes though? For
No
like stuff?
retakes. He does certain things that like seem really cool at the beginning. Like we have like 10 tests or 10 quizzes or something throughout the semester,
Mhm.
I think, or maybe 13 or whatever it is. But and like the worst of like 2 of them get like cut out of your grade,
Mhm.
so it doesn't affect your grade. And then the same thing with the tests. You get one test that you can just like cut out and it doesn't affect your grade,
Mhm.
the lowest of them.
Mhm.
And so right now, in Canvas, where it shows my grade, it automatically does that for you. And my grade's sitting at a D. At a D,
Wow.
like I won't pass this class unless I pass this final. Assuming, and I can't check like what my what ifs grades would be. So assuming that I pass this test, I might pass the class, and I don't know.
Wait, when did the grade drop though? Like,
It dropped Monday or no last Wednesday or something like that. On Tuesday night I was having dinner with my girlfriend and I was like, yeah, my grade's a B, this and that, like I'm doing all right. And he puts the grade in. Literally the next morning
Canvas
I'm looking at my
notification.
phone, I'm like, dude.
no, it
I'm
just
like,
happened.
dude, my grade just dropped to a D. Ugh.
I was gonna say like, you should have dropped the class.
I
Honestly.
should have.
You
I
should've
know.
dropped
I was
the
talking to my
class.
friend Daphne, and I was like, "Dude, I should have dropped the class." She's like, "Me too."
Definitely.
And so yeah, no, my that's probably my struggle for all my other classes. I think I'll do fine in, and I mean, I don't see the issue.
I remember we had this conversation about how you were saying like, yeah, dude, I'm just trying to take a like any math class, any easy one, and then you were saying like, yeah, dude, stats is so easy, stats is so
Dude,
easy.
well, because so I'll tell you, the first half of the semester a breeze. I was going through, I was good, and then the second half, because the thing is that right now at this point, the last 3 days of class
Mhm.
was dedicated like one chapter per day. We went next class. I think we're going through chapter 11. Last class we did all of chapter 9, and the class before we finished chapter 10.
Wait, how long is that math class? Like 2 hours, an hour,
It's an hour and 50 minutes.
an hour
Like
50?
most classes. And but the thing is what we do is we go through all these notes, and he'll sign homework. It's not mandatory. You don't have to do it, but he'll sign the homework, and sometimes it won't like work with what we learned in class, because we'll do one problem and then he'll throw another problem at us that's kind of like
Similar.
reversed or different.
Uh-huh.
It's the same kind of equations you throw in there, but you had to figure out different. It's just a simple thing, and
Like
so
different ways to do it.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't know, just the way he teaches doesn't really work for a lot of the students in this class.
What about you, Deshaun?
For my class, it's for the finals that I have. So one final, which I kind of like this final and kind of don't. Where it's like for cinema, you have to watch 5 out of 7 movies, which the movies have to be off of the topics that we discussed in the period. So like, it's just gonna be a little bit of hassle finding the right movies for each subject that we have.
You complaining to watch movies?
Yeah,
No.
like you got the easiest final out of all of them.
I said I like it, and then I don't. It's just like, I'd like it if we got to choose. Well, we still get to choose the movies that we want, but it's like it has to be a certain category.
Like what? What
So, like-
category? What category?
So, like, for instance, probably like, I think it's probably for instance, it's probably like immigration or stuff like that. For
Oh,
instance.
like-
it has to be, or like some like for one of them, it's like Black History or something like that.
You're talking about a documentary or a movie?
Not documentary. It's like something based in that type of field. It could be
So it can be
anything
like-
related to it, though.
Was it?
And then we have to write like a whole essay for each movie.
Wait, so like the categories are not like, for example, like action or like romance or comedy. It's just like Black History or like.
It has to be like in the subject we did. So like, well, yeah, it has to be in the subject for like we did.
What are the subjects?
Well, mainly for the subjects like, for one was like, what's it called? Forgot the name of it. It was like Asian immigration or interning camps and stuff like that.
What?
And-
What? Those don't correlate.
I'm just talking about the final for now
Yeah. Anyway, go.
because I still need looking for information for it. But for the final, we basically have to watch like 5 to 7 movies, and then we have to do like kind of mini essays for each movie that we watch.
Ooh.
And yeah, but we get to take it home at least. It's take
Yeah, I
homes.
guess.
So I have people on that we're binge watching the movies in Discord. So it's like me and some friends, other friends in the class, have been doing that over.
Is it individual or is it like a group thing?
It's individual, but it's nothing against watching the same movies together.
Yeah. That's what's up.
And then for ethnic studies, she basically told me that the final is basically gonna be like the midterm, since everybody liked the midterm. It was like it should be like that.
Yeah.
And for my midterm, I got 90.
What was the midterm?
Midterm basically, jeez, I forgot.
Oh man.
I forgot my midterm, bro. But I got a 14.5 out of 15 on it though.
That would be great if I knew what it was.
If you knew what it was, yeah, it was probably like some 400 word essay or something like that.
Out of all the
Oh, it
classes,
was an essay, not a test.
Mm-mm.
Oh, okay.
out of all the classes, which one's your favorite? Or
How about
and
which
or-
one's your least favorite?
Least
and
favorite?
your least favorite?
Probably ethnic studies.
Ethnic studies?
Yeah,
Why?
I would say so.
Because mainly, it's just a lot of history. I don't like history in general, but it's like, it's a heavy class because it goes over heavy subjects.
Like emotionally or like?
Emotionally.
How much does that affect you?
A little bit, but not too much. But like, one of the things the teacher was like, she was like, it's a heavy class to take for your first semester. So it's usually a class people will like lock away until like their final semester or third semester here. And so it's just like, I'm like, why did my mom make me take this? She was like, it's a good class to take. I'm just like, okay. And then the teacher tells me, oh yeah, I'm surprised there's a couple first semesters in here. Because it was me and then one other person. I was 2 first semesters are only in that class.
Yeah, because I was surprised when you said that you were taking ethnic studies. Because, dude, I'm not taking ethnic studies for like probably like 2 semesters or 3. I'm not taking it right now.
I won't touch it.
You won't touch it? That's my plan. I don't want to touch it either.
You're like, I'd rather take some other class.
Yeah, but if I have to take it, I'm just gonna leave it for the class.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For that class, we have to do a lot of chapter reading and stuff like that. I bought all my books, so it's like I got them off Amazon, so it's like not too bad. But the reading, it's very being forced to read than naturally reading is a real pain. Going off somebody who's like big procrastination when it comes to reading. Like I love reading when I want to read.
I need pictures.
Yeah.
No,
picture book?
Give me a picture book. Because the thing is I struggle with the imagining what's going on.
Mhm.
You give me like a picture every couple pages or something, or like I can go off that. I'm like, okay, that's what that looks like. That's what the castle looks like, or that's what this house looks like. That's who this character looks like, or whatever it is, and I'm good. I can figure that out. What was your favorite class?
Probably communications.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think everybody's gonna
I
take
think everybody.
communications.
Yeah.
I like communications mainly because it's a unique class for speeches. Having to do speeches, that's new to me. Because like it's a little bit new to me because I have to do it. Usually like I would film my mom doing her speeches and everything for like Toastmasters and stuff like that. But having to do it yourself and after seeing what my mom does to prepare for her speeches, I'm like, I can't do this. And then all the speech outlines, all the practice, like, because the teacher was like, you have to practice, like, well, if you, like, so, like, we get prepared 2 weeks before the speech comes, and then practice 3 times
A day.
3 times a day. And so it's just like, you'll know it. I know another person who's also in his class. I think his name, I think he did a speech, I think, yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yesterday.
You sure?
I'm not too sure. Yesterday, I think it was Monday too.
What was
His name was Ben, and he his speech was on like nuclear or something. But he said he practiced 10 times every day for his academic speech, and I'm just like, jeez.
That's a lot, actually.
Yeah.
and all that.
No, something I noticed when practicing speech is the time goes by much quicker.
Mm.
So like I can practice speech 10 times, even if it's like supposed to be a 5 to 7 minute speech, because it kind of just it goes much quicker.
Yeah.
Because I'm doing whatever it is rather than just like looking at the clock. So
What the worst thing is, before this class, before I took communications, I was terrible at speaking. Okay, so back when I used to take chemistry in high school,
Yeah.
we used to do a presentation, or I think it was biology, one of those two. We used to do a presentation on like our chosen element or our chosen part of the body, and everyone else would be like, "Oh yeah, you do pretty good." I'm sitting up there waiting for the teacher to calm down the class because I'm sitting there like. I can't do it, like, and then everyone's eyes on me, like all the pressure just starts right there. Like you don't feel much when like everyone's talking. I mean, when the teacher says everyone listen up,
And then
all
just,
the
like-
eyes go to you.
And then,
Bro, that is so true. Cause like I remember, I think it was the critique speech, and so having to go up, I was like, all right, I was mentally preparing myself because I knew my name was about to be called, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna nail this. I'm gonna go with such energy up there, and so I'm like, okay, just focus on the speech. I'm like, all right, I got this. And then as soon as I get up there, I'm like, it's just dead silent. I'm like,
what do I have? What do I have?
okay. And then I'm like, okay, guys. So basically, so for my it's blah 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 blah. Like I immediately just go lower my volume, just like quiet.
Got that iPhone battery. It drops from like 100 like 50 something, and then the 50 to like 0.
And the teacher's like, he puts it on after he puts the notes down. He's like, gives you those, like you have to focus more on your volume. And I'm like, okay, the most impossible feat.
I feel like the worst part about like giving a speech, it's not like, at least for me, it's not like having all the eyes on me. It's more about like the silence. Like I don't know what about the silence, but when I'm like standing up there, and it's just like dead silent, it's just like I don't know. It's like
I think the silence is really intimidating.
yeah, it's like super intimidating.
So loud.
Cause for example, like you and me, Ernie, we both play soccer. It's kind of like we're used to like
Where's
you know.
me?
Yelling.
Well, you used to play
My
soccer.
position is like
I'm
yell
like,
based. I'm just like yelling at everybody. Pass the ball. Pass the ball.
No, like we're used to like having like some sort like some people's attentions on us, but it's more like there's no silence.
Yeah, there's never silence. You're always hearing.
There's what they always say though. So when doing the speech, like I don't look at the audience. You would assume that classroom is the perfect classroom
'Cause of the back
for
counter?
speaking. No, not because of the back counter. It's because all of the no food signs are on each wall, and it's like I just gravitate from each no food sign and then back and forth because they're in perfect placement of where like to look at.
It's gotta be.
It's like it looks like
intentional.
you're looking at people.
Yeah, I don't have to look. I just look at each sign and go back and forth to look at faces.
It's gotta be intentional.
Yeah.
It's gotta be intentional actually.
What do you guys do to like get yourself prepared for your speech? Like maybe like right before the speech, or maybe the day before, or something like that.
I have
Other than
myself up.
practice, or where you practice, or what you practice, how you practice.
You like give an example.
Yeah, okay. For me, what I started doing before the podcast, obviously, when I was doing my speeches, at least my last speech, maybe the one before that, what I did is I had sat in my car before class started, and I had my music blasting and thumping in the back, right? And my music blasting, and I was just trying to yell over my music, and I just did that maybe like a couple, like I don't know, 6 times until I felt really comfortable. The first one I read it. The second one I kind of just started at it. The third one I still was a little darting at it. By the third one I was tossing that, or the fourth one I was tossing it over to the side and just going and going and going. Because I'm gonna be real with you, I didn't practice any day before that.
Bro,
because I mean I'd forgotten I had all these other assignments due, and so the day of.
For practice, mainly, I would be in my room, and then I just read it over and then read it out loud, but not too loud, to the point of where I don't want my mom to hear me practice, because then she'll hear me practice and be like, "Oh, come downstairs and practice for me."
Practice in front of
My
everybody.
mom, she wanted to be a judge for Toastmasters, but she just decided not to because she was just gonna be done with it. But my mom is. Never mind. It'll sound insulting. Never mind, because she may see this.
Yeah, you better
Your
think
mom's
about
watching
that. You better think about that one.
Not to be disrespectful, of course, but she'd be a very good judge if she decided to judge. But if she judges somebody who's inexperienced, she will critique the best possible in a way where I mainly want to go the same pace everybody else is at.
You're like, I just want to shut down.
Like, I wanted to practice in front of my sister. Still didn't want to practice in front of her. I don't want to practice in front of nobody.
Yeah.
I just practice mainly saying it out loud because, like, still saying it out loud is better than just reading it. Because soon you'll just be like, you know how, like, if you listen to music, for instance, and something like that, I'll usually, if there's a part where I really like, I'll listen to it repeatedly and be like, I'll sing it really quickly to go with the beat, and then once I keep doing that, I'll learn it. So like yesterday, I learned a song within like a couple, probably like 20 minutes.
That's impressive.
And I know almost every word. It was a really good song.
Go.
What?
Sing it.
No.
Sing it. No, sing it.
No.
That's what you-
No, I need to be listening to it to sing it.
What about you, Diego? What do you do?
Mine is similar to all y'all's. In terms of music, it takes me about 20 or 25 minutes to
I'm
drive
not
here.
talking about music.
Wait,
Talking
we're talking about
learning
speeches.
I know,
speech.
talking about speeches.
Okay.
But y'all's involve music.
Oh.
Okay.
You're involved music, you involve music. Maybe you?
No, I don't.
Okay, but it takes me 25, 30 minutes to get here.
Mhm.
In that time, I don't prepare at all. The only thing I do is sing songs.
That's not good.
Because no, hear me out. That gives me a nice talkative mood. And when I'm in a
Okay,
talkative
yeah.
mood, things just flow to my head easily.
Mm.
If I didn't sing songs coming here, I'd probably be like, so yeah, that happened, yeah.
No, I get it.
Definitely. What about you?
So for me, I also gotta get like in the mood of like talking and stuff to do like my speech. But the way that I do that is that I either talk to somebody beforehand, like I don't know, like I'm going to school, on the way to school, I'm in a call with a friend or something. And what I'd like to do meanwhile is like ask for like their opinion. Like I will be reading my speech to them, and we will be like talking about the speech. You know what I mean? Like, oh, like maybe use a better word here, or like you're struggling with this word, you can like do this. It's kind of like teamwork, I guess. And before that, I would just like practice and reword everything. Since I have an accent, there's some stuff like it's hard for me to say. For example, like murder.
What?
But I can't say bed sheets.
Grandma Fanny cannot say bed sheets. She's like, I mean, she mispronounces it in a way that's offensive to some people.
Oh. No, but yeah, I just be rewording like everything in my speech in a way that I can say it easier.
I was just,
No, this
I
guy
just
just
remember
came
there's
to the
something. I
realization.
just remember there's something. Like, I remember there was something you pronounced, and it sounded crazy. Like you remember, Ernie, but he can't say it right now. He can't say it, but you know what I'm talking about,
Are
right?
you talking about the food?
Yes. Yeah. Okay.
I cannot say something.
No, don't. Just keep continuing.
It's
Continue
not the
talking. We'll
flavor
tell
of
you.
food.
Yeah. Just continue talking, sir.
Okay.
So you don't get canceled.
But we're gonna be talking about this. But I just reword everything in a way that it's easier for me to say. That I'm practicing by myself, and I would just call somebody either the night before or on my way to school. Usually the night before, and I just like read it to them. I ask for their opinion, and then I time it. I ask for them to like time it, and yeah, that's pretty much it.
Yeah, I mean, what would you say is the worst part about communications? I can't think of any person. I think maybe
Communicating.
no. I think for me, I think it might have been the last piece, just finding the facts, because the way like we had to use the quotes and then find the dates and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I noticed that like for me, I was doing oil and how like important it is to change oil in your car, like the behavioral persuasive, and a lot of the information that I would get is from like AAA or from O'Reilly's or this, which are good sources, but there's no author and there's like no dates or anything like that. So it's just like, hey, I got it from this source, and there's no way to like to date or anything. So I'd have to find other sources to make it worth anything.
Yeah.
Other than that, I don't think I have any issues with the class.
I think. Wait, are you thinking
My
the same?
favorite part's got to be this podcast.
Yeah, my
Yeah,
favorite.
like the podcast. Like this is kind of my first, well, um, kind of my second time being on camera. But like the first podcast, I was so nervous because
yeah, I think
I wasn't
that's right.
expecting cameras. I was expecting it to be like
An
just a
audience.
group of friends around a mic and you just talk into it.
No.
No
this is
video,
pretty much what
nothing. I was just
expected.
thinking it was
Yeah, I
like
expected
that
this
type
too.
of podcast. I didn't expect cameras or anything like that.
Yeah.
And mainly it's just like for communications in general, I liked it because it just let me come out of my shell a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm still nervous all the time.
But
Every
it's
day.
easier to manage.
Easier to
I get
manage.
it. I get it. I get it. I think. I don't know. I think communications has been a really good experience,
Yeah.
and it works really well for me. And like in how I want to do like college. Like it's kind of just like a, I wouldn't say a background class, but like you learn things. You go to class. You learn things, and you know there's not a whole bunch to like be in class for unless it's a day before speech,
Mm-hmm.
and so you can get out early sometimes, and so that's kind of cool. I enjoy that because then I can go on my lunch early, go get some food, come back. I mean, but it's a nice class. I wouldn't say it's super easy, but it's not super difficult.
Yeah.
Like, it's really manageable. I think for anybody, honestly.
I feel like it's more about like instead of like being hard, it's more like you gotta put in the work, you know, like to learn like your speech and
Yeah.
like.
I think
researching.
it seems hard to anybody that doesn't want to put in the work,
Mhm.
but after some of the work is put in, it doesn't take a whole bunch,
Yeah.
just a little bit at a time.
As long as you pay attention, I think it's good.
Yeah.
I'd rather take this class every
Yeah.
semester to like
Yeah.
to graduate than take like math or English. Some people would like dominate English. Like my friend Ethan, he can write a killer essay. He'd rather do that than math or any other subject. Communications is not what I thought it would be, and it's much better of an experience than I expected.
I feel like it mainly, like for classes, it depends mainly on the teachers.
Yeah.
'Cause-
Pop school.
Because like
That's really cool.
for my in high school, I had an English teacher. No, it was my junior year. English teacher. Like this is a teacher. Like I think her name was Miss Asatola, and a lot of people didn't like her. I mainly just liked the class because of her teaching methods. I understood them the most. So I'm like, geez, this is easy. And then
Yeah.
it's just everybody else in the class like, bro, we gotta write so much, bro. It's just like. It's like we had it in a way where we write like a little bit every day, but like people just hated writing, and so it's just like we would write on 3 pages. We have to finish one, and then another, and then you put that all together,
Yeah.
and it's just like, geez, I wrote a lot.
Yeah.
In reality, where it's just like writing it all at once is just pure hell.
I agree with that though. It like really depends on the teacher. I don't know if you remember, but I had to take Mr. O'Leary in my senior year.
Bro, a lot of people don't like this one.
Dude, and like the contrast from Mr. O'Leary to like Professor Pop, it's like Mr. O'Leary. I don't know if he's gonna watch it. I don't think so, but it's just he has a really like I don't know that voice that puts you to sleep. You know what I mean? He
Dude,
talks slowly.
My math teacher.
Yo, he talks
Bro.
slowly and like there's no energy in the class. Sometimes he would try, but people were like already like biased. You know what I
Bro,
mean?
were you as a government teacher? I think his name was Mr. Bowles. Bro,
Mhm.
he had that same. He would just lecture, and it would be after lunch. So
Everybody
after
was
my
tired.
third lunch, bro, I am full. The room is cold, bro. I am
To
going
sleep.
to sleep, and then I would sit all the way in the corner, and I would just go head down, sleep. And he one thing I hate it. He calls people out.
He does.
He calls people out, bro. And you know, since it's after lunch, sometimes I have more lunch with me, and I eat it in his class. And so he'd see me have like 2-3 turkey sandwiches on my desk,
What the-
just eating, and then I'm just like about to fall asleep because he's doing a lecture, and I'm like, just assign the homework, please, so I can listen, and then I'm already knocked out.
Dude, I understand the struggle because I eat right before I go to my last class of the day, which is my math class.
Mhm.
And then I get in there and he's so monotone. The class is cold.
Yeah.
It's just like
and he has nothing on his wall. It's not like it's like, you know how like teachers have stuff on their walls. He has
just
nothing. No stimulation of the mind. Nothing. So my mind is just.
I think it's harder to do that for some of these classes because not all classrooms are just one teacher.
Yeah,
And
but
so,
like
like,
for these classes,
For high school, it's different.
the classes
Yeah.
are entertaining.
Mhm.
Their teachers are energetic, but Mr. Bowles is trying to just get through the day, and so he's just gonna give the homework, give you a lecture, and you're done.
Dude, no. Speaking of teachers, so this is my second like comms class, kind of as a whole, and not necessarily in college, but like I took one in middle school. Speech and debate. Mr. Smith, you're awesome. But oh my gosh, it was so difficult because Mr. Smith, I mean, he had his way of teaching, and it wasn't necessarily the best for some of the students. For me, I didn't grasp onto it very well. It was a speech and debate class. And so we were just doing a whole bunch of debating. He was like, here's your information, or here's what you have to look up, do some research, and then be ready to present, right? We go up. He gave us like an outline of how we're supposed to present it. And I can't recall everything about the class. So I'm going to not speak on what I think about like certain things. But it was hard because we'd get up there and it's just like we're just staring at the teacher and the students, like in both sides. He's like, okay, you start, and we'll start and like this and that, blah blah blah, and then he'd have to point to the next person so they can rebuttal. It was very awkward, and I don't think a lot of people passed that class. No, he's a cool teacher. He's very stern, but it was just an experience, and I think the teacher plays a big role in definitely anything you learn. But when it comes to speech, like you have to learn to be comfortable and confident, like in your classroom, to be able to get up and speak in front of the classroom. And I don't think he really gave that kind of energy. He was very stern, very strict. He was cool, and he was a very cool dude. He was a good teacher for sure, but it didn't work well with me. And I think that's the biggest difference between like then. Also, I was in middle school, so it was a little different, obviously.
Yeah.
But then and then now, where it's like I'm in POS, he's kind of interject. He's got this thing going, and it really, it's much more comfortable for me.
You know who Professor Pop reminds me of?
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Benoit. Mr. Benoit.
He does kind of, except Mr. Benoit is like buff. Mr. Buff Wall.
No, Mr. Benoit, he's like six something.
I don't know how.
He's like
how tall Mr.
6'2".
Benoit is.
Bro, he's like brolic. Like, dude is massive, bro.
You know that whole Giga Chad meme going around?
That's
him.
Mr.
No,
Benoit.
Hey,
That
not
is
not
Mr.
literally, but
I
that's
know.
like.
He's like one step up below that.
Yeah.
Like Mr. Benoit, he was like the coolest teacher I've ever had.
Uh-huh.
And Mr. Pop reminds me a little bit of him. They both like bring
Mr.
in.
Foreman's gotta be the coolest teacher.
Actually, Mr. Foreman is actually really cool.
Mr.
too.
Benoit and Mr. Foreman are like on top of my favorite like teachers I've ever had like at school. Just because of how like in how much of a role they played in like my academic.
I'd probably say Mr. Martin and Chip.
Huh?
Mr. Martin and Chip.
What's the word?
Mr. Martin, yeah, we'll see what.
What was he teaching?
Mr. Martin was the wood shop teacher, and Chip was the auto shop teacher.
Dude, they were so cool. The thing is, I've never had them, but I actually really liked them.
Bro, like, you know, like, these are the teachers kids go to the bathroom and then they go to their class.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I used to do that. I used to do that. We would play. I would bring my soccer ball. He would let us play in the workshop. It was so fun.
That's not safe.
It is not safe at all, but we were
If
just.
if the teachers or if somebody finds this in the admin office,
Hey.
that guy's getting fired.
Hey, we didn't say school technically. We kind of did, but
You
it's
just
like,
said-
it's not.
Hey,
it's
I'm not gonna
not,
say nothing.
like, yes, nothing.
But it would be like, it would be really nice. I remember we watched the World Cup and we watched the Champions League final in his class, and he was just talking about soccer. He was just saying like, y'all think Manchester City's gonna win or Real Madrid? I'm like,
Real Madrid.
nah, I hate Real Madrid. Hell no.
What? I could swear we had a conversation about
No, that's my dad.
that's your dad.
That's my dad that likes Real Madrid. I like Barcelona, so I wanted Real
That's
Madrid to
what's
lose. Yeah, and he would talk. I don't know, dude. He like knew more about soccer than anybody else in the classroom. He was talking about tactics and stuff. And I'm like, Hold
Like,
up.
dude, I didn't expect you to know. You're
Yeah.
That's
he could
terrible.
he could easily be like a coach or something. I feel like with all the knowledge.
Probably was a coach.
Hmm?
Probably was a coach.
Probably was a coach
Maybe.
actually, maybe.
What about you?
What are we talking about?
It's like
You lost his
I'm
train of
here,
thought.
but I'm not, man.
Wait, no, really?
Probably like our favorite teacher.
Our favorite teachers.
I don't remember anybody.
Really?
No, I don't. It was like
How-
one teacher that always got clowned on, and I kind of felt bad for her.
Were you homeschooled?
I went to Franklin High in Elk Grove.
Mm.
Yeah, like what was her name? Miss Loomis. Her name was Miss Loomis.
Yeah.
She always got clowned on. I low key felt bad.
Why though?
Everyone, I don't know, everyone just hated her. Every time, people
was
would
a
speak
disability.
up, people would talk, people would do whatever the hell they want.
I got a question.
What's up?
Was there a teacher at your school that everybody, like, nobody liked until they took that teacher? And they were like, oh, this teacher's not that bad? Any of you guys?
Mr. Bowles?
Well, Mr. Bowles is cool. He's cool.
But I feel like
He's like, I wouldn't take him again,
His
but he was
teaching
alright.
method, I don't like his teaching method. His teaching method put me to sleep. He's a cool teacher because I did pass his class.
What about you?
Miss you.
Miss you?
Miss you. Even though that I couldn't have her for the rest of my sophomore year. I only had her for like
She was a yearbook, right?
she was yearbook and English for foreigners,
Mm-hmm.
and I only had her for like
First year.
no wait when did we go out for COVID?
The end of the freshman year.
End of the freshman. So probably like
So you didn't.
5 months, 6 months. I had her for 6 months, like presential. The best teacher I've ever had. She was so funny. She was like, she would actually like, I don't know. She was like really understanding. I don't know how to explain it, but she was really a really nice teacher. But everybody for some reason they would be like, I miss you. She assigned so much work and this and that, and I felt like the workload was pretty manageable.
No, for me, it's got to be Mr. Lewis. Mr. Lewis. No, so Mr. Lewis. I mean, going into Mr. Lewis's class was kind of just nobody. From what I heard, it was like, oh my gosh, Mr. Lewis. Like, I don't like Mr. Lewis. This and that. Like, Mr. Lewis is whatever, right? I get there and I'm kind of in that same feeling, because from my perspective, he's a little crazy sometimes, and it's all right. But it's like for the first year is kind of first semester was just like, dude, Mr. Lewis. Dude, Mr. Lewis. Second semester for the first half of the second semester, Mr. Lewis. And then, you know, at the end of the year, I'm kind of like,
Damn, Mr. Lewis.
I'm like, Mr. Lewis. And then the next year, and there's tone differences. You got to pick up on it. No, but Mr. Lewis was kind of cool. He was cool, and I realized during the summer, I was like, dude, Mr. Lewis was probably my favorite class that whole year. And then I got him the next year, and I was like, I walked into his class, I was like, Mr. Lewis! And he was like, Ernie.
He was disappointed. Oh my god.
No, it's alright.
Oh my god, Ernie again.
No, I think, eventually, I think Mr. Lewis warmed up to me. He liked me a bit more closer to the end of the semester because my work ethic as a student changed. And so he was like, you know, and he brought it up. And I remember one day in this class, and my friend Jordan, she sat next to me. She sat next to me. And I missed school maybe once or twice. I think it was because I broke my wrist. And I missed school. And from what I heard, he's like, oh man, no, where's Ernie? This is not. Jordan had texted me. He's like, dude, Mr. Lewis is like sad because you're not here. I was like, yes. And it could have been just misinterpreted, but man, I think Mr. Lewis is definitely in the top contenders for my teachers.
He sounds like Mr. Foreman.
Mr.
Mr. Foreman, dude, Bandit has so many nice teachers.
They have quite a few nice teachers, and the worst part is they're nice teachers, or they're cool teachers, or just the teachers that work well. Mr. Lewis was a well-balanced teacher. He was cool, but also in a way that was like he was just a good teacher. Mr. Foreman, he was a good teacher, but he was super cool. Like he was that teacher everybody went to.
Yeah.
For advice or anything like that.
It's because I feel like Mr. Foreman, this also with Miss U, that's the thing that I both like about them. They obviously they're like the relation with the students is like teacher student. There's some like kind of some amount of respect.
Yeah.
But like you could actually be like friends.
Yeah.
with like those teachers. Like
Yeah,
they
Mr.
support you.
Foreman.
Yeah, you can like talk to them and stuff. It's not like really, oh, I'm just a student. You know what I mean?
Mr. Foreman made sure you felt like you were respected as well.
Yeah, like you were like, I don't know, like.
They're not here just to get their
included.
paycheck.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
crazy because the first day of Mr. Foreman's class, I sat there and he gave that whole spiel like every other teacher's like, I'm here to help you, this and that. But the way he said it, the way his energy was, I felt that.
Yeah, like
And
he meant it.
Literally not even the next day. I think the same day or the next day, I went and tried to get like, because he taught economics that year too. I went and tried to replace Mr. Lewis with Mr. Foreman. I was like, yo, I need Mr. Foreman. And they're like, his classes are full. Everybody wants Mr. Foreman.
Mr.
He
Foreman's
was
so,
that guy.
and he moved away.
I know.
dude. I'm so sad
He
about
was
that.
The heart, like the emotional, like kind of spot for every student. If anybody had an issue, Mr. Foreman was there.
I feel like if I was there, like still and stuff, like taking the break,
Yeah.
and I learned that Mr. Foreman was gonna leave, I would have cried. That was the teacher that I missed the most.
I think it got emotional on the last day of school a little bit between like me and like my group of friends at the time. It was difficult because he was leaving, we were leaving. It's just like, dude, this might be the last time I see you, and it was insane.
Where did he go to?
He's teaching at a university, I think, or college.
I mean, he deserves it though.
Yeah,
he deserves
does.
it.
And how do you know? I haven't seen him in a minute, but
You can find his Instagram or something.
I know
Yeah,
people that
Mr. Foreman.
have his phone number. I mean, I could ask for it, but I don't want to bother him. How about you guys?
Me? I had this one teacher, Mr. Moore. We used to call him. We know him on a first name basis. Dylan Moore was his name. There was not much to say about him. He was amazing. I'm assuming he's sort of like your Mr. Foreman, the way you're describing him, like a god.
Pretty much.
I mean, yeah.
We used to. He was teaching English, and he was honestly just pretty funny. He was amazing. He was outgoing, outspoken. He talks a lot. There's two things that I remember from that class. One, we were doing the final essay. He said mine was the best in the class. To me, I'm fairly sure that was just him being teacher, but I felt that. And then the second one was I found a picture. I searched his name up on the internet, and I found a picture of some random convict named Dylan Moore. I thought it was funny, so I showed it to him, and then I showed it to everyone else, and everyone else thought it was funny. And that was the running gag for the rest of the semester.
Send him back to jail.
That's it.
Well, that's going to do it for this third edition of the Coffee Talks at Solano College Sports Network. I'm your host, Sean Duke, and thank you guys for joining us, Ernie Flynn, Sergio Valera, and Diego Cricks. Thanks for watching.
The exponential growth from the program from my first year to my third year now, that's what keeps me coming back and keeps me excited and just like fulfills me as a person.
It's so impressive, and we every time we walk in here, you guys are doing something different. It's great. It's
Nothing but opportunities here, and we have sports to cover, we have the equipment.
Because the more ambitious you are, the more opportunities you'll have.
on-the-job training is huge.
Get the hands-on experience.
When someone asks who can do it, you can raise your hand and say, I can do it. So
Joining the class was the best decision I ever made.
Stand by, we're going to go to cut one. And cut one. Cross court to Audrey Jones. Audrey for three. It is good! With 1.3 seconds left on the game clock. Audrey Jones with one of the biggest shots.
the sky's the limit, really, with what we can do here.
College just got affordable. Up to 100% of enrollment fees can be reimbursed for first-time college students taking full-time classes. At Solano Community College, we are taking full advantage of this to further your future. With certificate and degree programs in industrial technology, aeronautics, biotechnology, and many others, Solano Community College is a staple for success. For more information, please contact the Financial Aid Office at 707-864-7000.